Hello everyone, welcome to SI UK India webinar. Thank you for joining us today. We are now live with Leeds University. We have Hazel, Dennis, John, LJ Taylor and Roshni with us who will let us know more about this special webinar session. Please feel free to post all the questions in the chat box on the right. We will answer all the questions after the presentation during the Q&A session. So let's start. Over to you, Hazel.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's lovely to have you here today. My name's Hazel Hutchison, and I'm the head of the School of English here in the University of Leeds in West Yorkshire in Britain. Let me introduce my co-presenters and the people who will be speaking to you today. We're going to give a presentation and then there'll be some opportunities for you to ask us questions later on. So next slide, please, LJ. So today's presenters are myself. We'll be joined by Dr. Dennis Flannery, who's our postgraduate admissions tutor. Professor John Whale, who's our Director of International Activities, and we'll also be joined by Roshni, who's one of our PhD students, who'll be able to tell you more about student life here in Leeds. Next slide, please. So today's presentation is all about master's study in the School of English here at the University of Leeds. Here are our buildings in the heart of the campus, right in the city centre. It's a wonderful place to study and a really inviting campus with lots of modern buildings, as well as these old ones where we're based. So it's a great place to study and you'll find lots of variety and many opportunities to meet students beyond the school as well. So today we'll be talking in particular about our master's opportunities in creative writing and critical life, in English literature, and in post-colonial literary and cultural studies. Next slide, please. So if you come to study here, you will also have access to the wide resources that are available across the university. We have wonderful library resources. The Brotherton Library is one of the top 6 libraries anywhere in the UK. It has extensive literary holdings, including from some very famous writers from the past, such as the Bronte family, but also modern materials as well, from modern day writers such as Simon Armitage and Tony Harrison. There are beautiful buildings connected to our library facilities right across the campus, from very old-fashioned kind of classic-looking buildings to much more modern ones, such as the Laidlaw Library. So whatever you like to work in, there'll be somewhere good that you can find a good place to think and read and study. We also have some facilities that belong more personally to the school. If you're interested in theatre, we have a workshop theatre facility, which is home to our theatre studies team. And there are also opportunities for students to get involved in student-facing drama and other kind of workshop theatre activities where you can come and read plays with staff and get involved in performing. So it's a wonderful way to bring that element of literature to life and to increase your skills in that environment. We also have a print room with facilities for making print and learning about the processes of print and publishing from the past. So there are some really fun things that we can offer you within the school. And there's also lots of opportunities around the place to get involved in student-facing activities in our English Society, which will allow you to meet others as you go. Next slide, please. So I wanted to say a word this morning about scholarships and some of the opportunities that are here for you. So today we're delighted to announce a new scholarship that we've just set up for international students. We have many connections here in Yorkshire to the Bronte family of writers. So we're naming our new scholarship the Bronte International Scholarship from the School of English. And this will allow students to cover 10% of their international fees for master's students. So if you are eligible for this award, when you apply for this, you'll be automatically entered into that. And we will let you know from the admissions team if you might be eligible for this and if we're able to make an offer to you. So I hope you will consider that. There are also some full fee scholarships that we offer competitively through the school. So there are more details about these at the Leeds Masters funding page, which you can see on the link below. So if you have any questions about these, please get in touch or please ask the admissions team about that. We'll be delighted to help you. So I'm now going to hand over to Dennis, who's going to talk in a little bit more detail about our courses that we offer here.
That's great. Thank you very much, Hazel. Could we go on to the next slide? Thank you, LJ. That's terrific. So basically, we offer 3 MA programs at the School of English here at the University of Leeds. Um, 3 is not a very big number, but I think you're about to find out that those 3 programs encapsulate a very large and a very diverse, and I feel anyway, a very exciting range of activities. We'll start with the most obvious one and with the biggest one, which is the MA in English Literature. The MA in English Literature is the most sort of populous. Of all our programs, it has the most students. And it's also the one that I think has the biggest reach in terms of what the school does and how it represents the school. That is to say, it embodies really the history of the school and the heterogeneity of the school. The school has massive strengths in fields like the Renaissance, medieval, Victorian literature, romantic literature, modern literature. And there's a range of options and a range of expertises and a range of research passions that we all share that you can draw on when you find yourself being a student here, if you find yourself being a student here. It's part of the MA in English Literature also that areas of the school that used to be, I guess, known as area studies, I suppose, like American literature, which is one of my interests, and post-colonial literature, about which I'll have more to say in a moment, that they're also represented. And if the MA in English Literature embodies and enacts the history and the heterogeneity of the school, the second of those terms, I guess, heterogeneity, and a more forward-looking vision of history is encapsulated by some of the work we're thinking about in terms of development right now, in terms of thinking about environmental humanities, medical humanities, and digital humanities. And these are all, to invoke this term again, research passions that we have in the school. So there is a very big breadth of modules. I don't have a lot of time today to cover them, but just to give you an idea of, I chose some modules at random this morning. You could find yourself, for example, taking a module in Victorian new media. You could find yourself, if you were so minded, to taking a module entitled Shakespeare's Tyrants, for those of you with interest in the Renaissance and political interests. You could find yourself taking a module in psychoanalysis. You could find yourself taking a module that asks you to consider the relationship between fiction and citizenship in US culture. And all our MA programs, of course, have a research project aspect that's vital, and that's something that's shared. And you have the opportunity to pursue your interests, whatever they might be now and however they might develop in the future, with a supervisor and with a structured journey through your research project. I'm just going to move on and say a word or two now about the MA in Creative Writing and Critical Life. This is, I think, one of our most, thanks for the slide change, LJ, that's one of our most recent creations. And again, this pertains to our history, but in a much more, not in a retrospective way, in an ongoing and a forward-looking way, since creative writing at both undergraduate and postgraduate level is something about which we in the school feel very passionate about developing and giving our students opportunities in. So that's slightly different in its structure, that program, because as well as taking a research project as, if you like, a core component of it, students this year at least are taking a module that they're entitled Writing Identities, Criticism, Creativity and Practice. That's a compulsory module for all students taking this particular program. And I think those 3 words, criticism, creativity, practice, they really encapsulate what this really exciting and experimental and brave MA is about, which is about getting to people to link their interests in creative writing with their critical capacity, getting them to uncover and explore the creative push and the creative dynamics of critical writing. And there's a bunch of other modules from which you can choose. You can choose some of the modules in some instances that I've mentioned earlier from the English literature menu, if you like. A more particularly focused module for this program is a module entitled So Where Do You Come From? Selves, Families, Stories. It's a module that focuses very much on memoir. And you can also take modules that encompass literary history and critical theory in different ways. There's a module called War Morning Memory, for example, and a module called Feeling Time, about which I won't say very much more. Can we go on to the next slide, please? And that's the slide for post-colonial. Staying with my historical theme, if you like, this morning, I think it's very widely recognized that Leeds is a national leader in the field of post-colonial literary and cultural studies. And we were one of the first departments to really create a go-ahead vision and action in this field. And we have a very, very strong history and a very powerful range of expertise in this area. Again, a research project is something that is absolutely at the heart of this MA, but a research project for which you will be provided both teaching and supervisory guidance. And again, just to give you an idea of some of the kinds of modules you can take, if you chose to apply for and if you found yourself on this program, you could take a module in, for example, Global Indigeneity, a module entitled Africa's of the Mind, thinking very much about the relationship between place, politics, and psyche, and a module entitled Post-Colonialism, Animals, Environment. And that I think echoes some of what I was saying about earlier on, about some of the newer and more experimental, I'm prepared to say, teaching interests and research interests that the school is interested in developing as part of its ongoing and dynamic history in which you've interested yourselves today. I think that's all I have to say right now. And I think I'm going to hand over to John. No, I'm not. I'm going to talk about the course structure. I do apologize because I've been talking about modules. And basically, there's a little slide up here that gives you an idea of of how your year can pan out. In semester one, you take 2 modules, both at 30 credits. And in semester one, you'll also begin your research project, but very much on a taught basis. There's a series of taught workshops and lectures that begin the process of you working on your research project. And in semester 2, you take 2 more options. There's a lot of flexibility and a lot of choice and a lot of really exciting possibility in terms of that. I think lies under this rather simple looking diagram here. The course is 12 months full time. I know a lot of people have really historically enjoyed. I know lots of students who've done this course on a part-time basis over 2 years and have really loved doing that. And basically, it's a September to September beginning and end, September 22, September 23, with depending on your route, whether it's full-time or part-time, graduation ceremonies, which hopefully we can all begin doing again in December 23 or December 24. And now I think I will hand over to John. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm John Whale, the Director of International Operations in the School of English. Just to point up what Hazel and Dennis have already said, we're a Russell Group university. We're research intensive. The Russell Group is the top 20 research intensive institutions in the UK. And as Dennis has already said, we're home to a really fantastic range of expertise. The history of this school is pretty illustrious. We were the first, as Dennis has already said, to engage in post-colonial literature in a big way, and also were the first to establish a chair in American literature. So we go back a long way, and that has garnered a reputation for us worldwide. So we've always been in the top 40 of the QS world rankings. So we're a top research English department with a really fantastically strong international reputation. And we have a diverse group of staff as well. Our staff, as you might expect, are dominantly drawn from the UK, but they're also drawn from around the world, from Australia, Canada, the USA, and other European countries. So there's a good mix within our staff researchers. And one of the things that I think that has happened over recent years in terms of English research, because English has always been a dynamic subject. It's always on the move. It's always changing. And one of the changes that has happened, not just to the areas that we research, but also to the way in which we research, is its social impact, is the social good, the social connection, the collaboration that it can produce. And our research is at the leading edge of the redefinition of English studies. So we're in contact as researchers, not just as might be expected with publishers, museums, the cultural industries. We have great links with those, but we also stretch out to other kinds of institutions and have specialisms in some of the new humanities that Dennis has touched on, such as environmental humanities and medical humanities that really are at the cutting edge of English studies and are allowing us to engage with other social groups and to make change around the world. Should I have the next slide, please? So we've decided to put some faces to that array of fantastic reputation. So we've got a selection here of just a few of the people who are key researchers in their very different ways within the School of English. So one of our forms of research is creative writing. And I suppose the most famous of our creative writers is very obviously is Simon Armitage, who is the UK Poet Laureate. So his research is to engage with the nation as part of that job. But as professor of poetry here at Leeds, it's to lead a kind of practice-based research in creative writing, and particularly, but not exclusively, in poetry. Claire Barker, who you can see there, Claire is one of our post-colonialists, but she's also one of our experts in medical humanities. Some of her work has taken her on projects which in the past have looked at Bhopal and the environment and the human impact of that. And she's currently engaging particularly with disability studies. And I think Claire's work is a really good example of the changing nature of English studies, where someone who is a post-colonial expert can move into other fields that might surprise you, other fields that have a real benefit to different populations around the world. So there's a real kind of ethical drive and collaborative support for workers in the medical fields and in social science fields, stemming from work that is about culture at heart and is about literature at its heart. Can we move on to the next slide, please? Kimberly is another of our creative writers, and just to give you another illustration of the way in which creative writing is by no means a kind of writers in ivory towers just writing their own stuff. There's some of that, and that remains a good. But Kimberly's work is at the cutting edge of the way in which visual poetry can change our perception of the world, and also has a real ethical drive to it. And one of her major recent projects has been Mother Baby Home, which deals with the trauma of Irish history and adoption within the Irish state. And that's a very moving testimony to all those lives which have been radically changed by institutions of the state, and is also a way of allowing different groups of people to try to come to terms with that trauma. So it's both creative, but it's also powerfully ethical. And finally, Graham Huggan, as an interesting example, again, of a professor of post-colonial literature, who is expert in the literatures of English around the world. So he is a post-colonialist in a very international way. But Graham's more recent work has taken out of some of the theoretical perspectives that derive from post-colonialism. It's actually taken an environmental turn. So quite a lot of his his work recently has been on the Arctic, which is a highly relevant in the current state of climate emergency, highly relevant territory. And also, as you can see, it's a territory that is populated by people of very different cultures, and their very existence and territorial autonomy is currently under threat. So you can see the political, ethical, social implications of someone writing about the post-colonial. It's about people, but it's also about the environment. Anyway, there's just a brief selection of some of our staff. Can we move on to the next slide? So I want to say something now about careers and employability. Obviously, one of the main reasons that some students want to do an MA is for its own sake, and to specialize and intensify the work that they've done within the subject area as undergraduates. And as Dennis has demonstrated, you've got a great opportunity to do that. You can really make yourself a specialist. I think the key thing here in terms of transferable skills is the independent research project. That's the piece of work, that double weighted, if you remember from Dennis's slides about the number of credits, that double weighted independent research project is you making your way in the world as a researcher, but not just as a potential PhD candidate. You're making your way as an employee, potentially. That's the space where you can really define yourself. You can show to others how you can work with guidance, with support, but on your own, really making a new case in a particular field. So if we think about the independent research project, that's a very good way of leading us into why an employer might be interested in you, because you're someone who can make a difference and can change the field in which you're operating. So you've got great freedom to do that. That's why that freedom is there to do it. It's your opportunity to define yourself, not just academically, but in terms of identity and what you might have to offer for a future employer. Can we have the next slide, please? And I think one of the hard things for thinking about employability in the arts is also the riches that there are out there. I mean, one of the things to immediately have to overcome is thinking that it's only a very limited number of things that I can do because I'm an arts graduate, or even particularly an English graduate. And so immediately people will think of that list that we've got there. We've got creative writing, education, and entertainment, and possibly media and journalism. They're the to be expected go-tos, if you like, for graduate destinations. But I think the key point I want to get across here, with help from us, with help from our highly professional and connected network of staff working in our offices across the university, you can be put in touch with a whole array of employers. Because the big thing for English studies, both at an undergraduate and at a master's level, is that if you do a survey of where these students go, it's always more than 100 different destinations. It's not just education, more English study, or journalism. It's a whole array. And so the key thing there is you need help, and we will provide you with high-level professional support in order to focus your CV, focus your transferable skills, and also to help you get in touch with employers, not just in the cultural industries, but in all industries. One of the key things that employers and many CEOs of major international companies are alumni. And when we speak to them, what they want is that flexibility of critical intelligence that is produced, particularly in the domain of English studies. They're looking for people who are not just absorbing a corpus, a body of material. They're looking at real critical thinkers who can add something, who can be flexible enough to take on any amount of new information and process it with comeback, with their own reflective intelligence. That's what they're looking for. Flexibility of intelligence is the thing that you will be able to sell to employers. And if you do want to go on and do more English study, the Independent Research Project gives you that wonderful foundation. It is a stepping stone if you want to go that one step further and do a PhD. But we're well aware that not all our students by any means want to take that direction. And therefore, the way in which we've tuned your study is to allow you to use the Independent Research Project to reach out for that 100 or so different destinations of employment that are available to you out there. Can we have the next slide, please? And we really need slides of about 100 people to, as I've just suggested, to give you a true idea of what that, but here's just a brief snapshot. I mean, because I think it always helps just to see a face, to put a face to a particular destination. So we've got 4 here, someone who's a PhD student who's gone on that route, someone who's a drama teacher, also someone who's a Film Nation entertainment, someone who's gone into the cultural industries, and then someone who is a content specialist. But I think we could put up a whole range of other things there that don't simply reflect cultural industry destinations, but destinations within high-level companies as well. Okay. So as I've already mentioned, you need support because of the complexity of the opportunity that's open to you as a Leeds graduate with an MA. So you will have access to a wide variety of support, both from us in the school and from our colleagues, our fantastic colleagues in our award-winning Careers Centre. So they will also help you find work experience. There are great opportunities for internships. I mean, the University of Leeds strongly supports paid rather than unpaid internships. And the key thing, I think, if you're thinking about employment is not to postpone that. I think the key thing is to integrate your sense of where you're going from the very outset of your study, to think of that as a part of what you're doing. And then you can really make the most use of those opportunities provided by your modules and by the Independent Research Project. So if you're thinking about employability as you go into that, that can have an effect on the identity, the very nature of the work that you choose to do. So the centre, Careers Centre, offers a daily drop-in service, one-to-one appointments and job site featuring hundreds of vacancies targeted at our students. So you're going to get some really top-level professional help there. So multifarious opportunities, fantastically various opportunities, but you will get the help to focus and find the ones for you.
Hi. So my name is Roshni Jarraj, and I'm currently a PhD student at the University of Leeds. I did finish my MA last year at the University of Leeds in English literature. So LJ, the next slide, please. Thank you. So why I chose to study at the University of Leeds. So as previous presenters presented, I'm just gonna emphasize, but from my own point of view. So the research scope, the MA. So the degree that I did was MA English Literature, the modern and contemporary pathway. So it caters to modules more that are relevant and kind of your interest and the modern approach. So one of the modules that I did was Selves, Identities, and Memoir. And the second one was Post-Colonialism and about animal studies. So both of these modules are very interesting because it allows you to, expand your research and expand your knowledge into something new, because you wouldn't get a chance to explore all these, if you just stick to one confinement. So University of Leeds in that case, because there were such diverse modules offered. So it allows you to pick and choose whatever modules that you want. And the independent research project as well, it is one of the best things I guarantee you that's going to happen to you as a student, because it encourages independent and critical thinking, which I think is very important for your academic life as well as your professional life as well. Because the topic that I chose was feminism in Indian literature, and I had a very narrow breadth of what feminism in Indian literature meant. And I was assigned a supervisor, Graham Hugan, and he told me about all the various possibilities I could go with this research, and it never even came across my mind. So MA at the University of Leeds is like very interesting. And I also have to thank University of Leeds for the opportunity, because it allowed me to do my PhD as well, because of Dr. J. Because after taking his module, I came to realize that memoir is one branch of field that I could do for my PhD. So I'm currently doing my PhD at the University of Leeds as well. And if you're not interested in like any of these modules, which I think you will be, there are also the discovery modules available as well, which is for a separate website. And you can just access this, and it's about history, language, culture. So if you wanted to learn more about, apart from literature, you can also go to the discovery modules as well, and then inquire to the teachers about if you can join the course. And there's also LinkedIn Learning as well, which helps you for your professional side. So if you're joining the University of Leeds, please do take advantage of it, because it helps you boost your career skills a lot. And it has helped me a lot as well. And the school's league table rankings. At the end of the day, I would not lie, ranking does like affect your point of view. And the fact that University of Leeds has a good ranking kind of pushes you to the decision to, choose a university. But I should emphasize that ranking is not everything, because they do offer good research scope and modules. So please focus on that as well. You will not regret it. Can we go on to the next slide, please? Thank you. So my experience in the School of English. So starting with the teaching staff. So the teaching staff is that from my MA experience, you learn via modules. So 2 modules in your first semester and 2 modules in your second semester. So it encourages a lot of like independent and like small, like very intimate teaching, because the seminars, unfortunately for me, I was an MA student during the times of COVID. So most of my classes were online. But that still did not prevent me from having a good university experience, because it gives you a lot of intimate like details to talk about. Like with the seminars, it's with a small group, so it's much more concise and much more small, and students just can freely express their opinions about whatever they want, and the professors help facilitate that discussion a lot. And personal tutors as well. So for each 2 to 3 students, you're assigned a personal tutor, and the personal tutor helps you with whatever concerns and guidance that you may need. Suppose if you're having any academic concerns or any career concerns or any personal problems, you can go to your personal tutor and they will help you. And if they do not have the resources to help you, they will guide you to other resources that will help you. So please do keep that in mind as well. And talking about the internships, which I think is what most students are interested about. So I had 2 internships. So one of them was from the AHC department, the Arts, Humanities and Culture. It's not strictly related to literature, but it does help you, develop your other professional skills. So my internship was that I was a postgraduate community wellbeing rep for the AHC department. And my responsibility was to foster community engagement with the students. So you may think, how is this related to your English degree? It's not, but it helps develop my other professional skills, which I wouldn't have gotten to know from the School of English, because the School of English does a good job in sending you these opportunities. They give you newsletters, Facebook pages, and it's not only the school's responsibility, but yours as well, because you should take the active effort to look out for these opportunities. They will hand it to you on a silver platter, but you have to make the effort to do these internships. So I have to emphasize on that. So please don't think everything is just going to come to you like, oh, I'm just going to get it. You have to work for it. And there's also a very interesting aspect as well, the creative collaborative project. It's called the Leeds Creative Labs, and it happened last year. So it happened for the first time, where they allowed MA students from different disciplines of the arts, humanities, and culture to collaborate with each other, and you can come up with a very interesting project of your own. So I really do hope they'll be starting that in the second year as well. And if you do, please apply for it, because it's one of the best experiences that can happen to you, because you get to create a project with someone from your like other discipline, which kind of shows us to, oh, so how can I combine literature with music, with arts, with theater? So it gives you it just opens a whole new field of expansion. Now, social life, societies and traveling. So apart from like academia as well, there's also social life. It's not all studies as well. So you get to travel, you get to like, because for whatever interest, for example, anime, K-pop, music, movies, there's different societies for that. So you might think, oh, people are not going to be interested in what I think. Trust me, there's a Harry Potter Quidditch society. So if something as bizarre as Harry Potter Quidditch society is going to be there, there's definitely going to be a society for your interest as well. So it'll give you loads of chances to make friends as well. And Leeds is also in a very central location. So it gives you opportunities to travel outside Leeds and within Leeds as well. The next slide, please. So just to summarize everything what I just said, so why you should study at the University of Leeds? First point, it gives you exposure to a whole new experience of studying and teaching, encourages independent and critical thinking, gives you the chance to take on your own research project and go lengths with it. And it also, at the end of the day, if you want to pursue a PhD, or maybe if it's not for you, University of Leeds will help you with that. Like, trust me, I know because I'm a student right now. And it also gives you the chance to take on different opportunities that will help you develop your professional side as well. And last but not the least, you're going to have a fun and amazing time over here, even though because of COVID. So that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Roshni. Thank you very much. I'm just going to speak very, very quickly about how to apply. This is very, very straightforward. First of all, obviously, we get a lot of applicants, and it's important that our applicants are appropriately qualified. So we expect a first class honours or a second class honours grade 1 degree in English, or in a closely related subject. So some of our applicants I've just looked at a really great application from a student from, I think, Calcutta, who had a joint honours degree in English and history. On occasion, we've had students who have just had degrees in philosophy, history. I remember on one occasion many years ago, economics, and that person came here and did a great MA. If English isn't your first language, we do need satisfactory English proficiency scores. So those are the requirements. That's the kind of the nuts and bolts, if you like. I think there might be another slide after this, but you can visit the course pages at that link there, ahcleeds.ac.uk/English-masters. It's a very, very straightforward process. I have a phobia of such processes myself, but even I could do this. So you just click on you select the apply button. You have to provide a BA trade grade transcript, a certificate if your BA is complete, but obviously a lot of people they'll be in the last year of study. So what you've done so far. When I read applications, which I do read some of them, this 500-word personal statement is extremely helpful and extremely telling. It gives me a sense of the students' sense of possibility, where their passions are, their proficiency in English, their talent as a writer, and what they can bring to this community, because this is a very real, and I think as Roshni has abundantly demonstrated, a very vibrant community. And we also need certification attached to your English proficiency test for I can never pronounce that, so I'm just going to say IELTS. Okay, there's some guidance on applying for that at the link at the bottom of this slide, and these links will be available, I believe, later on. So it's a very straightforward process, and we look at applications carefully, sympathetically, positively, and bearing in mind that we get a lot of applicants, and we need our applicants to be part of this history that John has outlined, and this community that Roshni has outlined too. So we'd be very interested in welcoming those applications and considering them. I don't think I have anything more to say about that. So thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you so much for such a knowledgeable presentation. Now we are moving towards the Q&A session. So the first question the student is asking, do we need to submit a PS along with the application?
Sorry, can you ask that question again, please, Deepika? Do we need to submit, what was it?
Submit PSP, the personal statement, along with the application.
It's an integral part of the application.
Okay.
I think it's part of the application form. So when you go into to apply, I think it will ask you for that personal statement to be uploaded.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. The next question. Do you offer an English literature MA without work experience? Can I study English literature MA after completing a marketing course?
Oh, good question. Sorry, without work experience or with work experience?
Without work experience.
I'm going to pass over to Dennis.
Well, yeah, I mean, our English literature MA is open to people who apply, and they will range from people who are currently in university to people who have vast work experience. So I think the answer to, insofar as I understand the question, I think the answer is yes.
Yes, you do not need to have work experience to come and study here.
No, absolutely, yeah, absolutely not. Our requirements.
Sorry, Dennis, but as Roshni was explaining, we will try and give some opportunities for you to get some experience while you are studying. So if you apply to do some of the internships that are available around the campus, and there are also opportunities to work while you are here on a student visa. So if you don't have work experience, this would be a good way to get some.
Thank you. The next question, please tell more about the admission process for BA English Literature and Creative Writing.
So this is for the BA undergraduate degree. Yes, we're not saying too much about those, but we do have lots of opportunities as well for anybody who's looking for an undergraduate degree rather than a postgraduate degree. So it would be very wise to go to the course finder pages that are on our university website, as they will give you lots of information about that. I'm going to pass to John in a minute because I know he's involved in that programme and can maybe say a little bit about it. But there will also be opportunities to apply there through our international applications process. So John, could I ask you to say a little bit about the undergraduate creative writing programme?
Yeah, very happy to. It's a very exciting thing, which is relatively recent in our portfolio of programs. So we're very excited by it, and so are our students. It's a single honours program technically, but you do creative writing side by side with English literature. So roughly 50-50 is the split between the creative side and the English side. We also give you a very good grounding so that you're asked in foundation to creative writing in the first year in level 1 to engage with different genres. So to engage with, as you might expect, poetry, the novel, drama, script writing, but also creative non-fictional prose as well, which is, what I'm going to do immediately after this. So you're given an introduction, you're given a sampler, if you like, but a really informed sample of the different genres in level 1. And then each year becomes a more greater intensification as you go down the road of choosing the genre that you're going to specialize in. And then, of course, it ends, as most of our modules do, with a final year project, which will be, in the case of English with creative writing, will be focused on creative writing. I think it's a good thing, just for people thinking about that, to have some kind of mini portfolio of poems or short story texts or scripts that you are currently writing. So, be creating a kind of little mini sample archive to show what you're capable of as part of which will be looked at as part of the selection process, most likely.
Thank you. The next question. Is it still possible to apply for a scholarship for September start?
Yes, absolutely. yes, please do. You should be able to find links on the admissions pages. For the International Bronte Scholarships, you don't need to apply because all students who are eligible for a place here to study will be considered for one of those. So if you have the merit grades for that, we will consider you directly. But if you'd like to apply for one of the more specialised scholarships, such as the Bonamy Degree or the other ones that we have available, please go to the scholarship pages. I think the links are in some of the earlier slides, which will be available here on SI UK later on. So if you just go back through the slides, you'll find the link to apply.
Thanks. The next question. Do you have information about the business management courses?
Oh, not directly, but I think the place to go will be to look on the international students pages. So if you go to leeds.ac.uk/international-students and click on study at the top of the page, you should be able to find details about all the different degree programs that are available for master's level at the university here in Leeds.
Thank you. The next question. What are the top UK employers post completing the master's course?
Well, as John explained, our master's students go into a whole range of different things. I don't know if we have a list of the employers that we have recently updated for our graduates. I don't know, John, do we have that at that level for the employers?
I don't think we do. I mean, for the reasons stated that the most, if you take the situation, last stats that I can think of, for example, there might be 200 students at an undergraduate level doing English. Probably, I think that no one sector was in double figures of percentages. So, you know, you might think that lots of students are going into journalism, or lots of students doing English are going into teaching. The last time we looked at that in terms of destination, not a single field, let alone an employer, was double figures. It's that multifarious. So it's not like, well, one big employer is going to absorb even 20 students or even 10 students. I mean, it's spread thinly across a wide range.
But as John said earlier, in some ways that's the most exciting thing about studying English, is that it's not so much about exactly which route you go into, it's about how you come out with a set of skills that are always really useful to employers. So it's those skills around communication, the skills around being good at managing people, being good at problem solving. These are things that employers are really keen to have in almost any career. But as John says, you can work closely with our careers service while you're here and do the Leeds for Life activities that Roshni was talking about. And those will really push you towards understanding what it is that you would like to do next and giving you the links that will allow you to make the contacts to move into that.
If I could just intervene briefly and give perhaps a concrete example of that. Over Christmas, I was in touch with two former MA students of mine, one of whom did their MA here with me and went on to do a doctorate at the University of Oxford and now works in education. Another of whom also did their MA with me and is now a very big presence in the aviation insurance business in the City of London. So that's the kind of range of things that very briefly sketched there that are open to our graduates, and those are the kinds of opportunities our graduates have taken up. And I could go on about this, but there's probably another question.
Those are nice examples. Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you. The next question. I have done my bachelor's in journalism and mass communication. Which postgraduate course can I apply for?
Yes, as Dennis was saying earlier, we do have graduates coming to do our postgraduate programs from a range of degrees that are related, and I would imagine that we would be very open to having an application from a student with those qualifications. So things like journalism, media and communications. There is a School of Media and Communications here, and we share some of our courses and modules with that school. So those are very relevant qualifications for us in English. And you'll also find that the skills that you have would be very useful in that environment. So that's a big yes from us.
Thank you. The next question. What is the deadline for accommodation? Is accommodation secured for the international students?
Oh, that is a very good question. I am not entirely sure the answer, but I'm hoping John will know.
I don't know
muted, John.
what the current offer is. I know we do have some accommodation that is particular to international students, but I don't know if we can offer all international students university-owned accommodation, because we have moved, as most institutions have, most universities have moved into a kind of a model of mix with the private sector. So I'm afraid I don't know the answer precisely on that one in terms of if we can make an absolute promise to every international student arriving.
But what we do have is we have a big international office here at the university that will support you in your application. So even, and they will certainly make sure that they'll help you find accommodation that's appropriate for you. And they do offers like, helping you when you arrive at the airport and really helping you settle in when you first arrive. So that there will be a lot of support, and we'll make sure that you get somewhere good to stay that's close to the university and appropriate for you. And that transition, it's a big thing to do, to take that big exciting step to come and study in another country. Can be great fun. I know I've done it myself. Can be great fun to do. But it does feel a little bit daunting, but don't worry. We'll be here to help us and support as a school, and the international team will make sure that that's a help, kind of good transition, and you're not left on your own to manage all of those practical arrangements.
Yeah. You also, I would like to say that one of the things that hasn't come up, which should, is the Students' Union here. I mean, we have a fantastic award-winning Students' Union, which offers all kinds of support and cultural opportunity, and also will offer guidance on and support on such things as accommodation.
And if I could just very briefly add to that, I mean, that exists with the Students' Union, and I think the Students' Union both responds to and in turn helps to perpetuate something that I notice afresh year on year at Leeds as someone who teaches here, which is just how great the day-to-day student community is, how kind people are to each other, how people help each other out. This was vividly clear in the darker days of COVID, but it's ongoingly clear to me now that we're returning to in-person teaching. Leeds has a very gentle but very powerful community vibe, for want of a better word, and that's probably one of the reasons I've never left it. Okay, I'll stop talking then.
Roshni, would you like to say just a word or two about your transition to coming to Leeds?
Yeah, sure. So basically, the thing with me is that I kind of had a good luck streak because I did my BA already in the UK as well. So my transition to is that it's very supportive, and the international office does help you a lot with visa requirements and everything. So if you want to get any documents done, they will message you in one working day, and they will get it all sorted for you. And the transition is that if you come to the UK for the first time, University of Leeds will have students at designated airports, and they can come and pick you up and drop you to your accommodation. So it's a very easy transition for that.
Yeah, great. Thanks, everyone. Deepika,
Thank
do
you.
you have a question?
Yeah, we have many questions. So, another one is, what are the career opportunities during the course and the part-time job opportunities?
Sorry, is it possible to have a part-time job as well? Is that the question?
No. The question is, what are the career opportunities as well as what are the part-time job opportunities?
Well, I think we've said a little bit about the career opportunities. There are lots of opportunities for our graduates to move on into a wide range of sectors and cultural, in the cultural industries, in media and broadcasting, in education, but also in other more business related and many different fields. There will be a lot of part-time opportunities to work while you are in Leeds as well. You can work up to 20 hours on a Tier 4 student visa. So there are opportunities to do that while you're here. 20 hours.
Yeah. Can I just add that the current situation in the UK in terms of employment is just thinking particularly about the 20 hours that you're allowed to work. It's very favorable at the moment. We're in a situation where employers are in need of employees. So it's probably the most favorable climate that we've been in for at least 20 years in terms of students being able to pick up the kind of jobs that they might do in order to sub their study. So bar work, restaurant work, etc. That kind of employment is certainly really fantastic at the moment for you looking for job opportunities.
Sorry, Deepika, I think you have quite a few more questions for us to cover.
Yeah. So next question is, do you accept students with a 5 years gap?
Yes, we would look very favorably at that. Yes, we'd be very happy to have an application for a student with a degree then.
Yeah, and even longer. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. The next question, what is the deadline for September intake? Are the classes going on to be face-to-face?
Yes, we will be. I mean, we are doing quite a lot of face-to-face teaching at the moment. It's a little bit of a mix with some larger events happening online and smaller group discussions happening on campus. But the plan for next year is that we will be moving to as much face-to-face teaching as possible next year.
Thank you. The next question. I am currently in my class 11. So how can I apply for a BA?
The links that we have on for the study pages here, if you follow those through, so like I say, if you go to leeds.ac.uk/international hyphen students, you will find links there. There's a box at the top of the page that will allow you to click on study, and that will give you all the links that you need to follow through to make an application as an international student.
Thank you. Can I enroll myself in your master's program with an undergraduate degree in management without work experience?
Please do apply. Yes, we would be very glad to look at an application. I think if you can demonstrate to us that you have the right skills from that degree program to follow on and do the activities that we're getting your way during our degree program, we'd be very interested to look at that. Yeah. Dennis is our expert in this, but if it looks like you have the skills to do our program, yes, we'd very much be open to that application.
Yes, because we as I think most people have gathered by now, we're a very big, open, diverse community, and therefore we welcome graduates, going back to the earlier example, who have a 5-year gap or more. Mature students contribute a huge amount to what we do here, especially at MA level. And similarly, as I've said, some of the students we've had who've done some great work and who've really had very valuable experiences here did not have degrees in English, but they were able to demonstrate through their application that they could make a go of it here and that they had something to offer. And by golly, they did. It was great. So if that's the case, then we're very happy to proceed.
Thank you. Do we have time for more, Deepika?
Yeah, we have a few more questions, so we can cover that quickly, maybe. Yes, the other question is, do you have possible May intake?
Sorry,
do you have a May intake?
No, we do not. So our programs run from September to September at the moment.
Okay, perfect. The next question is, what are the things I have to do to apply in the university? And currently I'm in 11th standard.
So is this applying for a BA?
Yes, a BA program. And she's also asking, what are the requirements do I need to fulfill for a BA program?
John, do you have the answer to this quickly? Oh, you're on mute, sorry.
You're muted, John.
Equivalent, but I can't remember exactly what that is. But also there will be as Dennis said, pronouncing it IELTS score minimum requirement from the University of Leeds if English isn't your first language.
This information will be available on the international pages.
It should be available.
Or
Yeah.
if you would like to email one of us after the webinar, we'd be happy to send you in the right direction to make sure you get good advice on that. So yeah, thanks for the inquiry.
Thank you. We have two more questions. One is, will I get a job offer after completing my studies?
Sorry, one is?
Will I get a job offer after completing my studies?
Oh, we very much hope so. So our careers team at the university will be able to help with that, and we'll be able to put you in touch with employers. So we cannot guarantee that, but we will do everything we can to make sure that you are put in touch with the right people.
Thank you. The next question. What should I do next after sending over the application?
Well, our admissions team will be in touch with you, so that they will certainly be getting back to you. And we like to keep in touch with what we call engagement. So there will be messages coming to you from the admissions team regularly to make sure that we're staying in touch with you as your application goes through the process. So once it's in, it shouldn't be much to do, but we will certainly keep you right about that and give you the advice that you need in terms of applying for visas and making sure that you have all the paperwork that you need.
I have covered all the questions from the chat box. Many thanks for answering all the questions so well and sharing your knowledge. Now we are moving towards the end of this seminar. I would request if you have anything else you would like to put forward for the audience who are watching us live right now.
Oh, thank you, Deepika. Just to say thank you very much for watching. It's been lovely to have this chance to answer your questions. Please do follow the leads that are here on the Stay in Touch page. We'd be very happy if you also want to email us here directly at the school. We're always keen to hear from prospective students and to answer any questions that you might have. So thank you so much for your time and your attention this morning. Thank you to all of the team at SI UK for helping us with this webinar. It's been great to have this opportunity to speak to you. And we hope to welcome you here to the University of Leeds sometime next year.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for your kind words. To all the audience, if you have any further questions, please feel free to contact our SI UK India offices. We'll be more than happy to help you. Thank you so much, everyone, for your valuable time today. Bye-bye. Take care.